Welcome to this week's Aiding Your Game. This is the third part of our Players series. I hope they've been helpful and informative. Let's wrap up this series and talk more about player aspects. Now, before we jump into this week's video, make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button. Help us grow. If you don't mind the notifications, be sure to hit that bell so you can see when we post new content. Give us a thumbs up if this has been helpful, and be sure to share this video with your friends who may enjoy this content. Now, as we talked about player aspects, we built some characters. We talked about making sure that we're communicating with not only our DM, but the other members at the table so that we have a character that fits into the world and fits into the party. We explored diving into the backgrounds as well as the world lore a bit so that we have a good cohesive player character who fits into the story that the DM is refereeing. And by utilizing the background, the allies, the flaws, we're able to get some backstory that we can provide to our DM and give us an idea of who our character is. And now that we've got all of those steps done, it's time to gather around the table and play. But making sure that we give a personality to our character is going to be of paramount importance for role-playing. Now, this is where a lot of divergence happens between rolling play and role-playing. While there's no real wrong way to play, I myself am a storytelling gamer, so the story and role-playing aspect of the game is very important to me. And I really tend to lean towards this as a player, and I find myself more apt to provide additional story content for storytelling role players as well, because their characters are interactive with the story, they've got great RP, and they're wanting to have their character story unfold in conjunction with the campaign story or the series story. And being a role-playing gamer myself, I don't always approach the situation with a funny accent or a funny voice or a unique voice. For me, when I get into character, ready to role play, the most important things are thinking as my character would think. So I try to emulate what would the character do in the game setting that the GM puts in front of us. For instance, if we look at the monk that we built, if we're getting ready to explore an adventure story and we've found possibly a cave leading into an ancient temple, it was pitch black. I'm not a Goliath monk, so I have to think of how my character would react in that situation. And that's where his ideals and his bonds, his allies, and his backstory comes into play. Role-playing as my Goliath monk, I can have a better aspect of how he would interpret the situation, interpret the scene, and act accordingly. Being a sponge, getting the information in from the GM as well as my fellow players to see what everybody's doing and how they're reacting to the scene allows me to play off of them and role play what my character would do. A comparative is the other character we built, who was our fire genasi. There would be a real different approach in how either of those two characters would view the world surrounding them, looking into that entrance to the ancient tomb. They would act differently based on who they are as an individual. That's one of the things that I really enjoy exploring when I'm playing, is how would the character react, not myself, but how would my character react to the environment around them. Now, we've got a video about getting your head in the game, and I give some tips and tricks on how to get into character prior to your session. If you're a role-playing gamer like myself, these types of tips and tricks are great to be able to get into that headspace to be able to role-play your character at the table. Now, if you're a tactical gamer, there are still some tips and tricks to be able to role-play well with the others at the table and really personify your character. While you may really look at how to min-max, how to get the best armor so that you have the best defenses or the best weapons so you can optimize the damage output that you're doing, really looking at your character critically and looking at what their motivations are give you an opportunity to begin to blend both your tactical role-playing style or tactical rolling play style with those who are more story-focused and role-playing style. As a GM, I have quite a few tables that have a blend of different types of players. Aspects that I use to kind of merge these together and get a cohesive table you can take up as a player yourself. If, say, you're spending the night camping and you're rotating your watches, a tactical gamer, which I have played in the past, and a role-playing gamer, which I really default to, can have a lot of shared communication of the same style on that watch. While your tactical player may want to just get through the night and see is there any attacks or not, one thing that you can do to kind of break yourself of that mold is if that role-playing character is beginning to talk about maybe their backstory or story or talking about the lore that they've heard on the quests that you all are taking part in, a tactical gamer can utilize the stats and abilities that are focused for them to begin bringing in some role-playing aspects to their game. For instance, if you're sitting with another player character around the fire and your character is hearing them rattle on about the quests that they're on and legends and lore that they've heard, you can simply call out that you're really looking for the best weapon possible. It's possible that in the legends and lore that the role-playing character has heard, it allows you to have some type of exchange where possibly they've heard a rumor of a fantastic weapon that could meet your needs. It's a great way to build camaraderie around the table and really allow yourself to do more role-playing at the table. Likewise, it gives the other players around the table a good glimpse into your character's motivations, and what drives them to be on the adventure. While items like shopping episodes where you're going through and talking to 500 NPCs through the course of a couple of sessions can be very daunting for a lot of people, other players really relish in it. Finding that middle ground when you're in the thick of an adventure can be a great aspect to bring players and characters together. It allows them to build camaraderie amongst the party as well as players around the table. As you start getting into the headspace of the character that you're playing in the game, one of the things you're going to notice is you're going to have better immersion to the game. You're going to enjoy the game a lot more. You're going to appreciate the work that the GM and the other players have put into the story as well as their characters. And you're going to have a more vested interest in the successful outcome of your party's adventures. Now, after our last video, I got a couple of emails that were talking about what is the primary way that I balance out the tactical gamers versus the storytelling gamers to make sure that everybody is having fun at the table. As a player, one of the things I do is make sure that I'm including them and trying to find ways to pull them into the story, into the character development, and help them realize some of the aspects of their fellow characters. Because over time, we can build and play off of each other. As a GM, I set up scenarios where it gives opportunities for those things to happen. A great example that we just used is doing a watch around the fire while we're camping. Sometimes these aspects and opportunities go right over our heads. That's normal. One of the biggest boons we can do is just keep looking for those opportunities. If we miss it, don't beat ourselves up about it, but look for other opportunities where we can have that type of interactive role-playing between both tactically focused and story focused. Be open to learn about others' characters and look for opportunities on how your character can have some type of a tie-in with other characters, creating new bonds that the other players have, as well as bonds for your character to have with those other party members. Character development is a fantastic way for you to realize the potential of not only your character, but their impact on the story, as well as the impact on the party and the other characters at the table. Now, going back to our tactical players, if they are really looking at how they can min-max or if they have a set path that they want to multi-class in to make sure they get the best bonuses and the best features and abilities for multiple classes to become the ultimate fighting machine or casting machine. That alone really gives a lot of detail into their background and ultimately into their backstory. They have a vision of their progression through their character's life. That is a fantastic way to start putting down some backstory. If you're a tactical gamer and you're looking at how you can really personify and bring in some of those role-playing aspects, make sure that the thoughts that you have for developing your character over time, you're utilizing as part of your backstory. You're looking for being able to be the sneakiest but strongest spellcaster there is. You're looking for a way to be able to harness your rage and do massive attacks while also gaining divine favor. Items like that, as you're putting breadcrumbs out to the other players as well as your GM, you're going to be able to find ways to integrate that character's developing story that you already have in your mind into the sessions at the table. Finally, one of the last bits that I want to cover about playing characters at the table with role-playing games is ultimately, you've heard it over and over through the books, through modules, through online communities. The ultimate goal is to have fun and have that bit of escapism. Now, people have fun in lots of different ways. One of the biggest opportunities for you to be able to have fun is to have immersion into your character, see that character's story and character arc develop over time, realize the impact that your character has on those around them, as well as the realm or world or region at large. And remember, it's just a game. If you're at the table with players who don't play the exact same way you do, look for those opportunities where you can kind of blend styles, where you can allow for them to shine, as well as giving you moments to shine. Utilize social media to find players who have the same type of play style as you do, as well as GMs who are looking to GM games that really appeal to you. And if you're not finding a good fit, don't suffer through it. Either change up course, put your character on a back burner, and adapt a player character that fits more in line with the sessions that you're going through, the table that you're at, or the GM that you're working with. Or look for a different group that has closer play styles and opportunities for you to really enjoy the characters that you're creating, the stories that you want to tell, the character arcs that you want to experience, as well as the personalities that you want to be around. Being a player in a tabletop role-playing game, regardless of the system, whether it's Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition or a number of other systems, is all about exploring and experiencing a world that we don't get to in our everyday lives. Building up legacies for our characters that we get to explore and lay in front of other people, and giving us that respite and reprieve from our everyday lives. Regardless of how you build characters, whether you're a tactical gamer or a storytelling gamer, the most important aspect is being that gamer. Having fun while you're doing games that you enjoy, exploring the spaces that bring you happiness and joy, and sharing those experiences with friends and families that we meet and make along the way. As a player myself, it's one of the aspects that I really love and have loved about the tabletop gaming community, and I hope you always have the opportunity to enjoy that as well. I hope this focus series on role-playing from the player's perspective and how to role-play as a role player has been helpful and allows you to build characters that you really enjoy playing, that you can't wait to bring to a table. Leave a comment below of the character that you're currently playing or one that you're longing to play. I'd love to hear the types of characters that are out there exploring the realms, as well as be able to look for characters that I may run into at a table near me. Thanks for watching that video. We hope you enjoyed it. Here's a link to another video we think you might enjoy. Also, please make sure to hit the subscribe button to help us grow. Look in the description box down below for some added links that you may find interesting. And don't hesitate to leave a comment to let us know, where will your adventures take you?